Good morning and welcome back to our Leadership Empowerment session at Spearpoint Training Institute. And I'm greeting you from a nice and cold Pretoria, and other places you might have summer, but enjoy the weather, irrespective of what you might experience. Last time we did part one of It Takes a Community to Raise a Leader. Today we are going to do part two of that same topic. But for today we're going to focus on the role of the community in raising the leader. In the community we need to model the values and the characteristics that we want to instill in the lives of leaders. Leaders are shaped by what they see more than what they hear and what they are told to do. Children emulate strong parents. Whether the strong parents are good or bad, they are emulating that role they see. Young leaders emulate seasoned leaders. A culture is more caught than taught. So let us never forget this. Whatever we do, we are setting an example for our upcoming and emerging leaders to follow. So make sure that in your company, in your business, or in your church, that we need to emulate integrity. Integrity is about the small things in life, the things we do where nobody sees it, where nobody can say, yes, this is integrity. But your lifestyle must reflect integrity. And then obviously prayer. I know many people don't want to become that labeled Christian in the company. But you cannot run your business very successfully without utilizing prayer in your life. We must show compassion. Why compassion? Because compassion, that is the thing that is important to people. And as a leader, we must have compassion on our employees. Understand that they are first humans before they are employees. You cannot separate a person's emotional state of being from their productivity. If they are emotionally drained, emotionally unstable, it will affect your effectiveness as an employee. And the fourth element that needs to be part of this culture is accountability. We need to keep people accountable for their responsibility. And as a leader, we need to be accountable to somebody else as well. My question this morning is, what kind of example are we setting for our employees, for the stakeholders or our clients? Does my conduct speak louder than my counsel? In other words, what I do, does it outweigh what I say? Do not make people confused by the things we say and the things we do that are contrary to the things we say. And as part of your organization, we must provide opportunities. Create a culture where we tap into the opportunities, the potential of our employees. And this requires of us to know our staff, to know their weaknesses, to know their strengths. And the moment we understand their weaknesses and strengths, we can create opportunities for them to live out their purpose. And once you have done that, you have very loyal employees. Leaders grow through real life experiences. It's one thing to have the theoretical knowledge, but it can never replace practical experience. So as leaders, we must train and trust our emerging leaders. We must trust them enough to give them space to try out new things, to experience the new adventures of growth. But together with this, there's always the risk of making a mistake. And remember, mistakes does not make you a failure. It just gives you more experience. I've read something that says, let us never fear a mistake, but let us rather fear the fear of making a mistake. As a leader myself, I've made many mistakes in my life. But the important aspect of making a mistake is just learn from your mistakes. And by learning from your mistakes, you will know what to do and what not to do in the future. Are we creating that safe environment for our employees? Do we create this leadership lanes they can run in? And the next element that I want to quickly discuss is, how do I handle correction and accountability? Galatians 6 verse 1 says, if everyone is caught, or if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. Please take this portion of scripture, this verse, very seriously. When they make a mistake, do it gently. Call them aside. Never do the correction in public. Make sure when they make a mistake, pull them aside, sit them down, make them feel comfortable. Ensure them that they are safe with you, even if they have made a mistake. So when conflict arises in your organization, and it will, why? Because we are working with people. And anytime we work with people, there will be conflict. How do I deal with this? Solve it quickly. Don't postpone it. Don't put it on the back burner and hope it will go away. It will not go away. It will come back to bite you. So when there needs to be correction, do it quickly. When we read in the Bible, in the Church of Acts, they've appointed men filled with the Spirit and wisdom to deal with this. So in a healthy community, we must protect our leaders, our emerging leaders, and our staff from moral failure. Teach them about character, about integrity. And you can do this. We need to come to the place to correct, restore, and then send them out in a better place, in a better position, so that we can benefit that in the future and the employee is not destroyed. Restore them with grace. Restore them with hope. Once they've repented, forgive and restore. So accountability does not weaken you as a leader. It actually makes you stronger. Do you have an accountability system in your organization, where somebody is accountable to somebody else, in their peers and vertically. There must be accountability. And when there's accountability, celebrate with them. Affirm their growth. Encourage one another. Build each other up. And you can find this in 1 Thessalonians 5 verse 11. I told you last time, I think the Bible is the most up-to-date and most elaborate leadership manual we can embrace. Anything regarding leadership, you can get that in the Bible. There are so many examples. Paul and Timothy, Elijah and Elisha, and I can mention them. I can keep on. David and Saul. He served irrespective of the king that was not correct or accurate or jealous. The moment you start to affirm your staff, you boost their confidence. Jesus heard when he was baptized a voice from the Father say, "This is my Son, in whom I am well pleased." Paul often confirmed and affirmed Timothy. So let us celebrate our staff. Let us celebrate every milestone they have achieved, every small little step. Let us celebrate that with them, because that will give them the confidence to tackle more elaborate, more difficult tasks in the future. Call them forth. It might not be a gold medal, but your affirmation might train them to become gold medal winners. Speak life over your staff. Give them a new understanding of the value of success. So have small little milestones. Don't just have a 5-year and a 10-year plan. Have weekly planners. Have weekly goals, monthly goals, annual goals. Let them enjoy the taste of success. So we just look now at the community. Now let us go to the leader's responsibility to the community. This is from the other angle. And the most important aspect I want to mention here is remain teachable. No matter how experienced or how powerful you are as a leader, always remain teachable. Teachability is a non-negotiable. Pride isolates you, but humility invites growth. Don't ever come to the place where you think, I am beyond the place where anybody can teach me anything anymore. Don't outgrow learning. Become an eternal student. Be open to correction, feedback, and some fresh insight. For us that at my age, we were born before computers and technology, surround yourself with people that are more clued up with technology than yourself. Acknowledge that you need help, that you need guidance. Number 2, serve before you lead. Leadership is not about a position. It's not about a title. It's not about the corner office. It's about functionality and service. David served Saul before he became king. Elijah served Elijah before becoming a prophet himself. If we are too big to serve, we are too small to lead. Don't be afraid to get your hand dirty in service, in serving others, in servanthood. Number 3, build and give back. It's about a transgenerational empowerment of the next and the upcoming and emerging leaders. Leaders are not supposed to do all the work. I'm repeating this. We as leaders are not supposed to do all the work. We are supposed to equip others to do certain tasks. Last time I said to you, it's about the Jethro principle, the father-in-law of Moses. Do the things that your employees, your followers cannot do, and allow them to do the things. And that gives you more opportunities and time to the vision and to expand and have new ideas and break new ground open for those behind you. Do not become the lid that is suppressing the potential of the staff that is surrounding you. Don't become the lid, because the moment you are a lid that is covering the growth of the staff, of your employees, you are creating a culture of frustration. Train others. Keep on training others. Have a pool of trained people so that succession planning comes naturally. Delegate intentionally. Remember again, delegation is not dumping. Dumping is when you are giving somebody something else that you don't want to do. Delegation is for the benefit of the one that has received the delegated tasks. It's the expansion of his potential. Keep on developing the successes. For me, as a leader, as a pastor, I'm so excited to see my spiritual sons in church excelling, preaching, leading. And then I can just stand back and say, wow, it is great. Now I can do other things. The moment you are creating new opportunities for others, you are creating opportunities for yourself. So in conclusion, for our business, for our company, promote the culture of shared leadership. Do not keep everything for yourself. That's the sign of an insecure leader. Create opportunities for others to shine. Create opportunities for others to excel. And stand back and celebrate those victories with them. Create growth paths for promotion and for mentorship. Encourage team learning, peer mentorship. That is the safest environment when people will flourish in that environment. At home, parents, speak purpose into your children. Encourage responsibility and initiative. I remember when two of my youngest grandchildren then said, "Granddad, can I wash your car?" And my first response is no. Because you are going to mess up, you're going to scratch my car. And I said, "Yes, you're welcome." And then I saw them how they washed the car with a dirty rag. And I thought to myself, let me chase them away. But what have I told them? They had initiative. They are taking up responsibility of washing Granddad's car. So instead of chasing them away, I said, wash the wheels for me. Clean the tires. The inside of the wheel wells. Clean that for me from all mud and dirt and dust. They can't really mess up that. And today, I can ask that same grandchildren to wash my car, knowing they won't mess it up. That is creating the culture of accepting responsibility and rewarding their initiative. Moral faith in them. Moral integrity. and love your staff. Leadership is not just a personal journey. It's a communal investment. Every Moses needs a Jethro. Every Timothy needs a Paul. Your staff needs you. They need your leadership. They need what you can give them. How do I do this? To aspiring leaders, upcoming leaders, surround yourself with mentors. Good quality mentors. Stay humble. Remain teachable. Be accountable. And always be available. Seeking service before seeking titles. In the community, for us as a community, invest in the next generation. Be the village that will raise the next leaders. And lastly, recognize that the leaders around you and call them forth into purpose, so that we can see and enjoy the community that is raising the next generation. I want to say thank you for watching this video, and you're welcome to use this material for training purposes. And if you want to invite me to come to your organization, your business, your church, to do leadership training, I am available. Send me a direct message, contact me, send me an email, whatever you want to do. But speak to me. I'm available. God bless you.